another restoration of all things message in the spirit and power of Eliyahu to prepare the way for Yahushua's second coming. Shalom. Are you prepared to lose it all, beloved? Are you being chastised by the Father? Is He molding you into perfection? Do you care not about your life? Do you know the Aleph and the Tav? It is vital that you know Him, but more importantly, that He knows you. This message will confirm the hard truth to the reality that we are facing today. As we are trying to get rid of leaven and trying to die to the flesh, to get rid of carnality, to get rid of what is called the flesh, the temptations. These hard truths are necessary to penetrate our spirit man and bring us to a true conviction of Yahuwah's high standards. When we walk in the flesh, His standards are not seen as the way they are. They're very high standards, and He does not change for us. We have to change to Him. During these feasts, we are to fully submit and stay submitted to Yahuwah by truly repenting and asking Him for forgiveness to anyone we may have offended. Beloved, our perceptions when we forgive are to be true and have works worthy of repentance. Meaning, when we see this person again, we are to truly have forgiven them and not bring anything else up again. I ask that everyone that seeks Yahuwah to ask Him to bring to remembrance every sin, every offense, every judgment call, gossip, hidden sins, masturbation, lust, jealousy over the gifts that Yahuwah gives, contentiousness, not following the order of the assemblies, not respecting the coverings that He has given us. We are to be putting all things under subjection to our high priest, Messiah Yahushua. Beloved family, we are to get rid of any unforgiveness, bitterness, rebelliousness, and contentiousness. I pray this message helps you. I pray that this message reaches your spirit man and helps you during the times that we're in today. This message will be about the scriptural perspective of the eclipses and what it means in Scripture. I know there's a lot of videos out there connecting dots with many numbers and things that are about to happen during the eclipse April 8th. This message is to prepare you for what's coming and to help you learn the art of obedience that has been lost. The 7 appointed feast is the spirit of prophecy. We have reached the time of the end of the age, beloved. The menorah represents the spirit of prophecy. It also represents the Messiah. The Messiah is the middle stick of the menorah. It is the number 4, which represents the Or, which is the light, the Torah, which is the teaching, the instructions. He is a Moreh. He is the shepherd of the sheep. He is the door, the gate. He is everything. Messiah Yahushua is the Aleph and the Tav. He is the Tumen and the Urim, meaning He is lights and perfections. The menorah also represents the 7 millenniums, the 7,000 years from Adam to the end of the 120th Jubilee. From Adam to the end of this age, Messiah was born in the year 4000, the 4th day of the Feast of Tabernacles. He is also the Son of Righteousness. In Daniel 7:25, it reads, "And He, the matrix, the controlling power in our day, shall speak proud words against the Most High, and He shall wear out the Kodeshim, the set apart ones of the Most High, and He intends to change the appointed times, the feast, the Sabbaths, and the Torot, the laws, And there shall be given unto his hand until time, times, and a half a time. These are the 3.5 years of the tribulation that we are coming into. We are entering the last 7 years of the 120th Jubilee week, which is represented by the menorah. Daniel 8 verse 12, and an army was given unto him against the daily sacrifices by the reason of a transgression, and it cast down the eternal truth to the ground, and it acted and it prospered. And this power is the Zionist Vatican Jesuit connection with AI, with artificial intelligence that is taking over the internet already. Verse 13 and 14, the transgression that makes desolate, and the giving over of the sanctuary and host to be trampled underfoot for 2,300 evenings and mornings. In my understanding, this is 6 years and 3.5 months. Then the sanctuary shall be restored to its rightful state. This is not signifying the temple that was destroyed in 70 AD, but our temple bodies with the mark of the beast that deals with the CBDCs, the digital currency money, which according to my understanding, the sign that we're seeing, it is a sign of the tribulation to be starting. It will be the sign that will start the tribulation on Day of Atonement, Yom Kippur, in September. And the CDBC should be in operation by then, but it will not be mandatory yet. It will be hard to buy and sell. Now, beloved, this is my interpretation of when I believe the tribulation will start. I believe it will start in September of this year. That coincides with the 2017 sign of the woman with the 12 stars that were on her head. That was in 2017. And I will try to demonstrate that to you as we continue. Now, beloved, many are not aware that we had a lunar penumbral eclipse on the 25th of March, on the priestly week of Hakots, which means thorn, judgment. And we will have another solar eclipse on the 8th, during the week of Yahushua, who is the judge and who wore a crown of thorns on his head. Now, beloved, on this calendar here, we have an eclipse before Passover and the day after Passover, which I don't believe is a coincidence. And both eclipses occurred on Monday, on a 4th day of the week. Coincidentally, in Genesis 1:16, it tells us that Elohim made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule by the day and the lesser light to rule by the night, and the stars. And Elohim saw that it was good, and they came to be on the 4th day. It's important to note that there are 3 Aleph Tavs in this verse. Now, the solar eclipse on the 8th has been written in the Shamaim. This is prophetic. It's been written in the heavens. Now, one thing I want to clarify is that the lunar eclipse occurred on the 4th day. It was on the 8th day of the new year, and it was 6 days before Passover. Is there anything in Scripture regarding this? Yes, we do. This is when Mary Magdalene anoints Yahushua at Bethany. In the book of John, chapter 12, 1 through 4, it reads, 6 days before the Passover, Yahushua therefore came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Yahushua had raised from the dead. So they gave a dinner for Messiah there. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those reclining with him at the table. Mary therefore took a pound of expensive ointment made from pure nard, and anointed the feet of Yahushua, and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this anointment not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" Here we already start to see some signs. We have Lazarus, which represents a man who was raised from the dead. Lazarus represents those who are dying to the flesh daily, submitting themselves to Messiah, walking in covenant status. And when the outpouring of the Ruach HaKodesh comes, they will be born anew. Next, we have the ointment, which represents the Ruach HaKodesh that will come upon those who have strived to walk like Messiah. And third, we have Judas Iscariot, the son of perdition, who is about to be revealed. And he is about to betray him again on the Mount of Olives, if indeed occurs, as the synagogue of Satan might not have a burnt offering on the April 8th. Now, it's important that you see that the ointment was sold for 300 denarii. 3. NASA is shooting up 3 rockets to the moon. The Mount of Transfiguration, there was 3. There was Messiah, there was Eliyahu, and there was Moshe. And we are operating in the spirit and power of Eliyahu, teaching the Torah of Moshe. 3 also represents the 3 red heifers that they are supposed to be sacrificing. We can go on and on about these 3s, but that is not the point I'm trying to make. The message that needs to go out is that you need to make yourself ready. No matter what happens, put your trust in Messiah and he will protect you. In Isaiah 60 verse 2, it says, "For behold, darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the peoples, but Yahuwah will arise in you, and his splendor will be seen on you." Beloved, there will be darkness covering the earth. There was darkness covering the earth on the 25th, and there will be darkness covering the earth on the 8th. And darkness will be on the people, meaning a dark spirit, a spirit of violence, a spirit of contention, a spirit of worldliness, a spirit of anti-Messiah, a spirit of Jezebel. But his splendor, beloved, whoever is listening, the splendor of Messiah will be seen upon you, and you will be used to witness to those who are lost, to those who are held captive by Satan in prison. The Hebrew word used here for gross darkness is arafel, which means gloom, a dark cloud. If you go to the pictorial Hebrew, it says look, head, mouth, judgment. We are to look ahead, for the mouth of Yahuwah is speaking through these verses that judgment is coming. Destruction, death, ignorance, sorrow, wickedness. These are the 4 horsemen. We're dealing with the 4 horsemen in full power, beloved. I want to bring it to your remembrance that on October 28, 2023, there was a lunar penumbral eclipse there also. It was in the week of Shekinah, which means permanent. During that eclipse, Mars and Mercury were in the direction of the balance. And what does that mean? Let us continue. The sun location was at the feet of Betula. The Betula is the virgin that represents Yasharal. The feet represent judgment in Scripture. Yahushua will step on the rebellious believers who are not walking in the Ruach, but they're walking in the flesh. And the flesh is enmity to Messiah. The 2 planets by her feet, pointing to the scales, is Mars, which means war. World War III involving Zionism against true Israel. This war that began in Gaza is a permanent war that will lead to World War III. World War III involving Zionism, Catholicism, the Inquisition against true Israel. Mercury represents the messenger of the covenant, which is Messiah. Number 3, the balance scales constellation is where they will be judged in the balance. We are to pray and put into action our emunah, faith, trust, and belief, to produce fruit, so that we are not found wanting, and that He will say, "Well done, my faithful servant," and not, "Depart from me, you worker of lawlessness." We do not want to be at His feet. Remember, He told the disciples to go and proclaim the good news, and whoever does not receive the good news, they were to dust their feet, meaning they were to curse that house or the city. Let us continue on this October 28th eclipse. The moon was directly in front of the mouth of Aries, which represents the lamb. An adult lamb is a ram. Messiah was the lamb, and the Lamb of Yahuwah will vomit many, which is represented by the two fishes that we see right here. So let us conclude. The Lamb, Yahushua, is about to vomit the lukewarm believers who have not decided who they will serve in the days of Eliyahu the prophet, and turn them over to Cetus the beast, the whale, the sea beast, which is the fourth biggest constellation. And the fourth beast is Rome, who Rome is controlled by the synagogue of Satan. Now we're moving into 2024. The lunar eclipse in March 25th. The moon is on her left side, and the woman is the Betula, the virgin bride. She has the characteristics of Messiah. She walks in total obedience to Him. She walks in covenant status. She knows her covering. She knows that Messiah is her covering. The moon again is on the left side of the virgin. We see the lion of Yehudah above her head. We're going to deal with the final judgment, beloved. Matthew 25, verse 31 to 32. When the Son of Man comes in His splendor. By the way, beloved, when Messiah came the first time, He left His splendor, His power, and His throne to die for me and you. That's how much He loves us. But when He returns with His splendor, and all His messengers with Him, He then will sit on His splendor's throne. Before Him will be gathered all the nations. This is referring to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, when the nations will be judged. And He will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. And He will place the sheep on His right, but those goats on the left. Then the King will say to those on His right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world." And beloved, as I mentioned, the moon is on the left side. It's very, very, very important that you take heed of this message. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you visited me. I was in a prison, and you came to visit me. Then the righteous will answer to Him, saying, "Master, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty or give you drink? And when did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked or clothe you? And when did we see you sick or in prison and visit you?" And the King will answer them, "Truly I say unto you, as you did it to one of the least of my brothers, you did it to me." Then He will say those on His left side, "Depart from me, you cursed, into eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his messengers." We do not want to hear those words, beloved. Beloved, the moon being on the left side is very, very vital that you understand. Here is a video that will make it more clear for you.
On the right side of God, or Jesus Christ, whoever you decide to identify that spot of judgment, on the right side of Him, there was this big portal that opened up, and there will be stones of fire. Normally when you get a lighter and you cut it on, try to spark of flame, but instead of fire, it was stones, and they will leak out of this portal. And whoever that guy said, "Depart from me," flew down this place. And the flame, the stones were so hot that it would burn everybody outside of that portal. On the left side of our body or our form, it would burn us. And everybody would be like, "Ooh!" Like as if it was so cold or so hot, you would tell somebody to close that door. It's too cold. That's how hot it was. And the portal closed. And then he sent them so fast that the screams were late. I would hear, "Ah!" Like it was like, "Depart from me." And it closed up. Then the screams come, "Ah!" And it terrified me. And then out of nowhere, something snatched us up. Like we moved up the line. And I began to think, I didn't understand where we was. I'm like, oh my God, maybe this is judgment. Yeah, I had many questions, and I would hear, "Depart me," "Depart me," "Depart from me," and all these different people will be sent to hell. And the part that scared me the most was the people that were getting judged. You could hear when God was talking to them, and you could hear everything they got judged from. So if somebody went to hell for something that you knew you struggled with in your life, you know where you were going. And so I'm just seeing people go, sit there, boo, boo. But I'm seeing the flame, and it's just constantly burning everybody outside that haven't been judged yet. And I could hear some of the people talking to God. And I remember there was a woman, blonde hair, and God was talking to her. He said, "I'm not judging you for what you put on Facebook, but I'm judging you on how everybody else received it." 300,000 people were led astray by one of her Facebook posts. And he said their blood was on her hands. And out of nowhere, he said, "Depart from me." And I'm talking about, I couldn't express how powerful his words were. It's as if he said, "Depart from me," and everything shook. And she was sent with great force. And the portal opened up. Boom. She would go, and it would close. And the screams was so late, it terrified me. People, adultery, fornication, so many different things that I could actually hear. And people in front of me were terrified because a lot of those people were struggling or went through the same situation, and they never repented. So 1,000 sent here. They were flying. They was flying so fast. I've never seen something so fast. And it got to the point where
April 8th, 2024 eclipse. We're now going to look at the sun and the moon's location. It occurred between the two fishes, which represents the believers. There is a planetary alignment also, Venus, the sun, and Jupiter. The Pisces represents the two fishes, which are the two types of wheat. We have the wheat and the goats on the left side. Pisces represents the two types of wheat, the two types of believers. We have the sheep, and we also have the goats on the left side. The sheep, they are the called, the martyrs, and the elect. The goats are those that are called. They have the testimony of Messiah in whatever name they call him, whether it be Jesus, Yeshua, Yahushua. It doesn't matter. They have the testimony, but they are not keeping covenant. They do not keep the commandments of Elohim, Yahuwah. The Pisces also represents the end of this age and the beginning of Aquarius. Esau is the end of the world, and Yaakov is the beginning of it that follows, according to 2 Esdras 6:9. This is letting us know who is in control of the world right now. The Cetus, the whale, the sea monster. In Mesopotamian, that constellation was referred to as a cosmic dragon. But in Greece, it was referred to as a whale. or a sea monster. It contains 97 stars, 3 short of 100. In Matthew 12 verse 40, for just as Jonah was in the belly of the whale, the Ketas, you can say Ketas or Setas, I say Setas, G2785, for 3 days and 3 nights, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth 3 days and 3 nights. And this is also found in Jonah 1:17. But I need you to know that the power of this sea monster is in his tail. It's in his tail, right there. That is where his power is at. Let us go deeper and investigate who this whale or cosmic dragon is. Psalms 74 verse 14. You, Yahuwah, crush the heads of Leviathan. So Leviathan has heads. Isaiah 27 verse 1. In that day Yahuwah with his hard and great and strong sword will punish Leviathan, the fleeing serpent, Leviathan, the twisting serpent, and he will slay the dragon that is in the sea. This dragon, according to Daniel 7:25, gave the power to the beast, which is Rome. And Rome, through the synagogue of Satan, controls the nations with its tail. Revelation 17:3 tells us that the beast, which is Rome, had 7 heads and 10 horns. The 10 horns are the 10 kings that control the whole world. The woman is Jerusalem, that operates through Zionism, through an inquisition, will enforce the Noahide laws of the New World Order matrix of this Luciferian beast system. Now, both cities have 7 hills. The Leviathan is the embodiment of chaos and a metaphor for a powerful enemy, threatening to swallow up the condemned. Those goats on the left. Revelation 12:4 confirms that his tail dragged down 1/3 of the stars, which are the messengers, the angels of Shamaim, and cast them down to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth, so that when she bore her child, he might devour it. Beloved, the woman already gave birth to Messiah. And now, as we are witnessing the birth pangs, she's going to have another child, a male child. And that male child is the dry bones of the household of Yasharel. This is the assembly, and he cannot hurt the elect of that assembly. So, brothers and sisters, I ask you to get right, to get your houses in order while there's still time. The September 23rd, 2000 sign of the woman, is exactly 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days to the April 28, 2024 eclipse. Just wanted to throw that out there. Dark winter is glooming upon us, beloved. Fear Yahuwah and give him kavod, his splendor to him, because the hour of his judgment has come, and worship him who made the Shamaim, the earth, and the sea, and the fountains of water. Revelation 14:7. Messiah Yahushua is the Aleph and the Tav. Many know him as the Alpha and the Omega, but he has more substance as the Aleph and the Tav, because he was a Hebrew, not Greek. In Ezekiel 9:4, it tells us that Yahuwah said unto him, and this him is the Messiah. He is the one dressed in white linen. He said, pass through the city, through Jerusalem, and put a tav, a mark on their foreheads. Now, beloved, Jerusalem is a metaphor for the bride. I need you to understand that this is a wheel within a wheel. This is a prophetic sign for the end times. There's nothing new under the sun that has not been. The Messiah will put a tav on the foreheads of those who sigh and groan over all the abominations that are being committed in the earth right now and not going along to get along. Verse 5, and to the others he said in my hearing, pass through the city after him and strike. Your eye shall not spare, and you shall not show pity. As for me, my eye will not spare, nor I will have pity. I will bring their deeds, their ways upon their heads. This is the Messiah speaking in these verses. Let us continue. The writer's inkhorn. The writer's inkhorn was given to a man in linen, in white linen. Who is this man? Well, I believe it is the Messiah. So let's find out. To set a mark like the eclipse that was upon the forehead of America is the same words that you see in Ezekiel 9:4 that we just read and Revelation 20 verse 4. And this is the same sign that was upon America on April 8th, 2024. And this tav, it is a mark or a signature. It's a symbol of truth, perfection, and completion. It is a mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. This is a sign that you are in covenant status, which is the Aleph and the Tav, which means it's a mark, it's a signal, it's an omen, it's a sign, it's a flag. Something is about to appear. And beloved, these are all characteristics of the Messiah on what he is and what he will do. Beloved, we all need to repent and die to the flesh. Many are not understanding that concept. When I mean die to flesh, is die to everything that is not of Yahuwah, your thoughts, your perceptions. If you forgave someone, do not bring it up again, because that will count against you. And then thinking that you're going to be fine, but you will have seeds of evilness in your heart when you go before the throne judgment.
Plead my case. And I was pleading to a God I couldn't see, but I knew it was total silence while I pled my case. I was telling him I reminded him of all my good works. I told him about all the things that I'd done, all the things that's what I was basing on my good work. I told him about all of that. And when he was never said a word till I finished. When I finished, then he answered me in a voice that sounded like thunder. Wasn't anything like the voice that Satan had used on him. He says, I'm going to try to quote verbatim exactly what he says. Your faith is dead. Your works are in vain. The life that you lived and offered to me as a life of Christian service is an abomination that I rejected in the Pharisee. What made you think I would accept it from a Laodicean type Christian? In fact, untold millions are living the same kind of life that you lived, and they stand in danger of my everlasting wrath. Unquote, the living God. I couldn't believe he was talking to me. I'm a preacher. I'm a teacher. I just told him about all my good works, what I'd done, And I said, no, Lord, you don't understand. He said, you didn't do those works for me. You did them for a false God. But Lord, I was serving you. No, you wasn't. You served a false God. Then he named him. Satan's number one selling false God. SELF. Instantly. I knew everything he said was true.
Beloved, get rid of unfruitful seed that's in your spirit, man. Have fruits worthy of repentance. Being puffed up will get you a depart from me. Your perceptions, your silent attacks, they need to stop. Stop fighting amongst yourselves. Stop slandering each other. Everything's being written down. Seek Yahuwah while you can. Let us seek Yahuwah while we can. While we still have a little bit of of shalom, of peace. Soon we will not have peace. Soon things will escalate, my brothers and sisters. Ezekiel 9:8, and it came to pass while they were slaying them, and these are those of the disobedient ones, those that did not learn obedience to their master, and I was left that I fell upon my face and cried and said, "Oh, Master Yahuwah, will you destroy all the remnant of Yasharal in your pouring out of your fury upon Jerusalem? Will Messiah, the Aleph Tav, destroy the righteous with the wicked?" Because this is the same thing that Abraham was asking him, because that's who he was talking to in Genesis 18. Brothers and sisters, we need to know who the Messiah is, the authentic Messiah. He doesn't play. He came as a suffering servant, the Ben Joseph, the son of Joseph. But today, we're looking at his return, and he will not come in that fashion. He will come as a king with a rod of iron, and he will come ready to strike those that hate him to his face, those who do not obey his commandments. Ezekiel 10, as for me, says Yahushua, my eye will not spare, nor will I have pity. I will bring their deeds upon their heads. Again, I need to make this clear to you that he will not play when he returns. When we cross the threshold of the time of Jacob's trouble, things will be worse. We will no longer be in his permissive will, but his perfect will. Revelation 19:13, he, the Messiah, is clothed in a garment, in a linen, sprinkled with blood, and his name is called the Word of Yahuwah. Beloved, we're trying to figure out who this man in linen is, who has the writer's inkhorn, who put the mark, the tav, on the foreheads of those that were set apart. Isaiah gives us more insight. Isaiah 63, I have trodden down the winepress alone, and from the peoples, the nations, no one was with me, and I trod them down in my displeasure. I trampled them in my wrath. Their blood is sprinkled upon my garments, and I have defiled my raiment. For a day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of the redeemed has come. Now, beloved, in the book of Revelations 19:5, it says, he treads the winepress of the wine of the anger of the wrath of Yahuwah Almighty. It is Messiah who will give the order to destroy you, and it will be him who will destroy the wicked. Let us continue. Let us continue as we learn the art of obedience. Matthew 16 verse 25, for whoever shall save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. There are two methods of attack: through deception, ignorance, and our lack of belief, lack of faith, through disobedience. First, there are some spirits you must cast out because you have opened the door and you're being physically attacked. Number two, there are some that you must overcome. They cannot be cast out. The battle is in the mind. You must overcome these temptations. We were all prisoners of war, but Messiah showed us the door. He showed us the way, and he let us out. But once we came out, he gave us the key, and he says, here's the key. Lock the door. Don't let no one come in. But somehow, and that's all he needs, to squeeze his foot in that doorway, and then he'll pry it open, and then he'll possess you and attack your flesh. It is important to differentiate the two methods of attack. In James 4 verse 7, it tells us, submit yourselves fully in obedience to Yahuwah. Resist Satan and he will flee from you. This is the part where you have to die to yourself, die to the world, die to your inclinations of the heart that are of this world and not of Yahuwah. Die fully to the desires of the flesh, the world, and to self, or you will hear, depart from me.
Brother Howard, you talked about you saw a certain amount of people die and enter heaven, but
Yes,
at that
sir.
same time, what was it the Lord showed you about the people that didn't make heaven?
97% didn't make it. 2,000, they showed me his harvest for 15 minutes span of time. 15 minutes span of time. That occurred August 3rd, 1979, from where the paramedic judged my body to be dead until it arrived at the hospital. In that 15 minutes, I was allowed to see 50 saints that go into heaven. That was sum total of his harvest on the planet Earth for 15 minutes span of time. In that same 15 minutes, 1,900 and more people died. 950 more died. Only 50 out of 2,000 made it, 2.5%. That dovetails with just exactly what he said in Matthew 7. For many will say to me in that day, but Lord, Lord, have we not preached in your name? Have we done many marvelous works in your name? In your name have we done all this work? And he will say, depart from me, and I will knew you, you worker of iniquity. I never knew you. You were never saved. Not that you were saved one day and turned your back. I never knew you. You were never mine.
This is how it is, beloved. There is no gray areas. I'm not going to go along to get along. I'm going to tell you what you need to do. Revelation 12:11, and those who lose their life for his sake, have died to self and overcame him. They overcame Satan by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. And that is the problem that I'm seeing today. Many love this piece of clay that they have. They don't want to die. But in the first century, and even with the reformers, they were on the stake, put on fire, and they were ready to die because they knew to die is to live again. In the writings of Abraham, chapter 137, verse 8, this is Abraham speaking about when Yahuwah gave him a commandment to go sacrifice Isaac. And he said, I knew that was the word of Satan, seeking me to prevent my obeying the word of Yahuwah. Wherefore I commanded him to depart by the authority of the Kadosh priesthood in the name of Yahuwah. And Hasatan departed from me in haste. You see, beloved, Abraham had power, and Satan did attack him, but he knew what to do because he was a friend of Messiah and he walked perfect before him. And so he had the power of the authority in the priesthood. And that is what we are supposed to do. We are royal priests. We are royal priests. We need to know the power and authority that we have through the blood of the Lamb to cast out demons and tell Satan to go. In the writings of Abraham, chapter 132, 3 and 4, it tells us something very, very important here. It says, and Yahuwah said to Satan, surely you have been abroad in the earth, trying the hearts of men. Whom have you found standing in his integrity, in his credibility, who should be further tried to know whether he be yours or mine? And this is spoken by Yahuwah, the Father, to Satan, to test even further to those that are Satan's and those that are of Yahuwah. Beloved, do you have credibility? Do you have integrity? And what is it? Beloved, your light. Your light is your integrity. Beloved, your credibility is your light. When you go witness and you can win souls for the kingdom, that is your light. And that is what Satan is more threatened with. It is not that you know Torah and that you know all this Hebrew and that you memorize the Bible. No, it's when you go out with Messiah in you in covenant status, fulfilling the Torah commandments and witnessing and bringing souls to the kingdom of Yahuwah to keep covenant. That is the threat that he does not want. He wants to put out your light. That's what he wants to do. And now, beloved, we will speak on the types of believers of the ecclesia. Remember, in Matthew, Messiah tells us, whoever would save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life will save it for his sake. And Revelation 12:11 tells us that those that overcome with the blood of Messiah, they love not their lives, even unto death. Beloved, do you care not about your life until death? You see, beloved, we have the called, and these are many. Many are called. They have the testimony of Yahushua. Whether it be Jesus is the person of Yahushua, whether it be Jesus, Yeshua, Yahusha, it doesn't matter. Many have the testimony. The elect, though, they are chosen. They're few. They have been predestinated, and they have not only the testimony, but they keep the commandments of Yahuwah. And they are in covenant status, and they have died completely to the flesh. They detest the things of the world. They care not about money. They care not about the things of the world, lust, masturbation, just anything that Satan throws at them. They know his tactics. They know how Satan operates. They overcome every temptation with perfection. And then, beloved, they are the trustworthy, the martyrs, and these will die. These are soldiers for Messiah. They will go wherever he goes. They will go wherever he sends them. But they will be martyrs for him. Some of us are going to be martyrs, and some of us are chosen. You do not want to be part of the called, beloved. You want to be part of the elect, because they acknowledge that to die is to live. And they are willing to die for Yahuwah, because he will rescue them in the seventh trumpet. They will not see death, but will be transformed. They endure humiliation, mockery, and people that come against them all the time. They turn their words against them. These are those that have a calling on their lives. They have killed all the passions of the flesh, and they strive to remove all the leaven in their lives. Now the called, this is the great multitude. These are believers in Messiah, comfortable in the world, comfortable in the flesh. They do not want to let go. When the mark of the beast comes, they will not get it. And Messiah will have compassion over them, because they did not take the mark of the beast, but they did have the testimony, and that will count greatly towards them. They make no changes in their lives to avoid rejection at all costs. With their the called have the testimony but no Torah, make no changes in their lives to avoid rejection at all costs with their families and friends. They seek the honor of men instead of Yahuwah. They are deceived, and they are reaffirmed by their emotions and by their false doctrines, especially the rapture. Many are expecting this rapture any minute, but it will not come until the end of the 120th Jubilee, which is at the end of the tribulation. Their rapture is their escape. They are not willing to lose their life in the end. The called will end up losing their lives in the end through the inquisition of the Noahide laws. With that being said, Revelation 12:12 tells us, therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. This is the martyrs and the elect. But woe to you, O earth, the called, and the sea, the nations with the testimony, but no Torah. For the devil has come down to you with great wrath, fury, because he knows that his time is short. So here in Revelation 12, the devil has come down in great wrath to those of the earth and in the sea. But the trees he will not touch, and the trees are the elect. And this will occur at the middle of tribulation. Again, the elect are represented by trees who will not be harmed. Brothers and sisters, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, and against rulers of darkness of this world. And Satan is the god of this world. He is the god of time, and his time is running short. And this is why he's upset. And this is the reason he will come down with great fury. Many do not know their enemy as they should. Let us continue. Verse 13 and 14. And when the dragon saw that he was cast onto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. But the woman was given 2 wings of the great eagle, so that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness, to the place where she is to be nourished for a time, times, and half a time. Beloved, this is exactly what Daniel 7:25 is telling us, that 3.5 years in the wilderness, and Yahuwah will sustain us until the second Exodus, until the catching away of the gathering of the people of the nations, meaning the resurrection of the dead and those that are alive. This correlates with Ezekiel 20:35 and 36. It says, I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, same wilderness that Revelation speaks of, and there I will plead with you face to face, like I pleaded with you with your fathers in the wilderness, in the land of Egypt. And I will plead with you, says the Master Yahuwah. And here we have an Aleph and a Tav, letting us know that it is the Messiah who's speaking here, and this is a covenant marker. Let's continue with Revelation 12:17. Then the dragon becomes furious with the woman and went off to make war with the rest of her offspring, her seed, on those who keep the commandments of Yahuwah, the Father, and hold the testimony of Yahushua. Beloved, we are the seed of Messiah, and in Yahushua we are of Abraham's seed that relates to the woman's seed in Genesis, whom the covenant promises were made to. It is only those in the new covenant that are in Messiah who will receive the covenant promises, not those that are in Judaism. If they come to Messiah Yahushua, Father is able to graft them in again, according to Romans 11. And in Isaiah 53:10, it says that Messiah will see his seed. Let us conclude to the road to the promised land, the second Exodus, with this verse, Hosea 6:2. After 2 days, 2,000 years since he died, he will revive us, he will restore us, and in the 3rd day he will raise us up. We will be caught away, and we shall live in his sight. Then we shall know if we follow on to know Yahuwah. And as you can see, there is an Aleph and the Tav before Yahuwah, meaning this is Messiah speaking. Beloved, does he know you? Does Messiah, the Aleph and the Tav, the authentic Messiah, does he know you? If not, he will say to you, depart from me. The choice is yours, beloved. And I leave you with this word. Shalom.